Hello, and welcome to another Steel Division Divisional overview, and today we're taking a look at the 15th Infantry Division, the Scottish Infantry Division, or really the bog standard, gold standard really, of British infantry divisions and Steel Division. Also, just a very good infantry division in general. This is probably one of the best infantry divisions in game, with a very well balanced arsenal. And well, without further ado, let's take a closer look. So, economy rise, you got 85 points in A phase, 120 in B, and 125 in C. A very nice, pretty steady income. 40 activation points, which is pretty standard for an infantry division. And in terms of slots, lots of infantry, lots of support, anti-tank and artillery, and everything else is pretty bog standard. So, let's take a look at the Recon tab. And in the Recon tab, there's a lot of unit options. You get a lot of unit options for the majority of this division in every tab. So you got Recce and you got Scouts, and those are the two main infantry chaps. The Recce come in MMG carriers, as well as Universal carriers in A phase. The MMG carrier is the better run, as it does have the Vickers gun, as well as the Bren gun. You only get a 2-man squad, which is a 4-man squad. But really, the 2-man squads, I'd say, are much better. Just better to have the better transport in an infantry squad that has 3 extra, or 5-man squad, my bad, that has 3 extra rifles. The Vickers gun will be doing much better service. B phase, Recce and a Rillies, Recce and a Stuart Remy, or Recce, or Stuart Recce, Recce and a Stuart Recce, or Recce and a Humber Mark III. So some very nice vehicle options. Recce and the Humber are both pretty good. I'd say the Humber is the better choice though, just because it has AP ammunition for its main gun, and it's only 5 points more. You also have the option of 2 different recon cars, the Daimler and the Daimler Little John. The regular Daimler has pretty much standard 2-pounder gun and a machine gun. It's pretty standard little recon car. The Little John has the Little John adapter on it, which allows it to shoot much more powerfully, 14 armor penetration, which is a ridiculous amount. It only has 800-meter range though, so it's not as good in long-range tank battles. These are both pretty good little recon cars. I'd say the Little John is the obvious choice to take, as 15 points more. You can pretty much kill heavy tanks. With this thing, you can frontally penetrate a Tiger, which is pretty cool. Even though you can frontally penetrate tanks with this, it's still recommended that you use this on the flanks and you try to flank around and get side shots still, just so you can get the first shot advantage. You're still pretty nimble with this thing, so you might as well not try to engage head on. But you get them times 1 in B, and then times 2 in C, and the Daimler is just the same thing, but with an extra in per card. So infantry. It has a lot of infantry, in terms of card count, and just how many guys you get per card. So of course, the regular chaps you're going to be using are just your standard British riflemen. 2 SMGs, 7 Lee Enfields, as well as a Bren gun. The British riflemen are nice just because they have the 2 submachine guns, meaning that in close range encounters with Panzer Grenadiers, they win, just because that extra SMG gives them 3 extra HE damage. And you get a lot of rifles, holy crap, you get a ridiculous amount of rifles. 6 per card in A phase. Into B phase, you get 9 per card or 6 per card with 1 self-infantry. And into C phase, 12 per card or 9 per card with 1 self-infantry. You're not going to be running out of rifles. That is pretty much it. You're not going to run out. If you do, then something's going terribly wrong. The other infantry option, of course, are Bren groups. I used to be kind of fond of Bren groups, because they're a 10-man squad, and, you know, they only have 2 Bren guns, which is pretty terrible. But honestly, I don't really think the Bren groups are worthwhile. Just because it's only a 5-man squad, they die too quickly. Yes, they have better long-range firepower compared to the regular Bren. Even though says it does 2 HE, I believe it only actually does 1.5 HE. Well, it does the proper 3. So you do get double the power, like exactly double the power with the Bren group. But still, you're much better off just having the riflemen. You have the 2 submachine guns, because that will allow you to do much more damage with those 2 SMGs and extra guys in the squad, and having 2 extra machine guns. And also you have no SMGs for the Bren group, so they're buggered in close quarters engagements. You only have Vickers. You have an A and B phase, and B phase that come with run style veterancy. I used to give the Vickers a pretty hard time because it's not a great machine gun, but it's not terrible. I'd highly recommend that you try the run style Vickers out. I've been doing it in my Canadian deck, and the runs in the Scottish deck are pretty much exactly the same. As yes, they can't be, you know, they have less HE damage than a Panzer Grenadier Squad, and German MGs can outrange you. But considering that none of the other infantry options have long range, like, firepower, this is pretty much your only thing. They can outrange Panzergrens and other regular infantry units, which is nice. And they're only 20 points. So, they're pretty decent to have. They're not going to be the be-all end-all. But if you just sprinkle one or two in the town to hold an open ground, they can prove to be pretty worthwhile. Yeah, and we got Assault Pioneers. Assault Pioneers are pretty much a 5-man, one-trick pony with their one satchel charge, or TNT charge I should say. They can blow a hole in any Axis infantry squad, ECP, or heck, even light vehicle. The nice thing is, even though they only have one satchel charge, they are 15-point squad. Meaning that if you blow up a Panzer Grenadier squad and just kill 5 guys, you've already paid yourself off. You're already cost efficient with the Assault Pioneers. You don't have to do too much damage with them to make them worthwhile. And they're going to do damage with that one satchel charge. And they do have 2 submachine guns as well, meaning they're pretty decent in CQC. You know, in a 1-on-1, they're pretty much buggered. But because they're so cheap and they're pretty plentiful with 8 per card and with one-star veterancy, you just sprinkle these guys in a forest like you'd sprinkle pepper on a nice dinner. I think that's a good analogy. And then you got rifle leaders and A and B phase. The A phase rifle leaders come in a command carrier, which is pretty meh, only has a Bren gun. The B phase one comes in a command Stuart, which is awesome. It's pretty much such a Stuart Recce. It's a British knockoff kangaroo. A nice thing, the leaders do come with 2-star veterancy, meaning they have a huge command aura. But overall, you're just going to be spamming lots of infantry with 15 Scots. You don't have anything too great, but you get a lot. You get lots of infantry. Tons of infantry. Tanks! You get a lot of tanks as well, considering this is an infantry division. There are some rather weird tanks. In A phase, you get Honey Stuarts and 3 per card. They're pretty much just an M3 Stuart, and they're actually pretty decent tanks, to be honest. And you can get 1 per minute, which is lovely. B phase you can get 5 per card, but B phase they've really lost their charm. They're not really worthwhile. What also is not worthwhile are both of these Churchills. The Churchill Mark IV and the Churchill Mark VI are absolutely goddamn terrible. They're horrible. There's no reason why you should take them. The Churchill Mark IV is 120 points, doesn't have HE for its cannon, slow as hell, only 9 frontal armor, it's not even a heavy tank, has the same armor values as Sherman, and it's not even as cheap as, it's the same price as a regular Sherman, as we're gonna see. So, why did you take the Churchill Mark IV? I do not know. Churchill Mark VI is a bit better, because it has HE value on its gun and 1 extra frontal armor, but it's 20 points more and pretty much does the exact same thing. It's more expensive than your regular Shermans, while still being worse than your regular Shermans. And they don't have 50 cals either, which is pretty bad. Yeah, these Churchills are just not worthwhile in my book. They're useless. They're really useless. The Churchill Mark VI is good on paper stat-wise, but it's way too expensive. Way too expensive to really be worthwhile in the card slot. And also too slow. The slowness really does kill it. You also got access to challenges in B and C phase. Challenges are alright. The nice thing about the challenges are it's 150 points. And it's essentially a Firefly with just 4 less armor. That's it, but it's much cheaper. It's 60 points cheaper than a Firefly. And all you're losing is 4 armor. I think it's even a bit faster as well. You still have the same armaments and everything. Problem is that losing the 4 extra armor is a pretty big deal, as you all get penetrated easier by Panthers and Tigers. Yes, Panthers and Tigers can still penetrate Fireflies pretty easily, but there's a chance that they can bounce. So the Challenger has no such chance. If you're hit, you're buggered. And also it gets stressed out much easier in a run-on-run fight because it has less armor, the crew's more panicky when it gets shot at, meaning that you're going to suffer more morale damage in a long-range run-on-run fight. So it's not ideal in that regard too. I mean, they are unvetted, and you do get a decent amount of them. You don't want to be engaging in those run-on-run fights over Panthers and Tigers at long range. You're usually going to lose, especially if you don't have any veterancy. So you want to use these guys to try and chase down Tigers and Panthers. You have to run an array at already heavily damaged morale rise before bringing out the Challenger. But for 150 points, it's a pretty good deal. And when you look at the Churchill Mark IV, this is better than the Churchill Mark IV as well. What is a good Churchill reel, and what really saves the deck in the tank tab rise, is a Churchill Mark VII. It's when the British realised, hey, we got a heavy tank. Let's actually put some heavy armour on it. So they slapped 152mm armour on the front, with 15 armour value frontally. There's not much they can pen you. Panthers and PkK-43 weaponry are the only weapons that can reliably pen you at maximum range. And, well, the Panthers are pretty common, the PkK-43s aren't so much. Of course, Tigers and Panther IVs can pen you if they get closer, but that's not too much of an issue if you know how to, just keep the Churchill at range. You pretty much use the Churchill as you would with a Sherman Jumbo, for example, on 3rd Armoured. It's not necessarily to kill tanks. It's not really good at killing tanks. It can kill Panther IVs and Sykes rather decently. But, once the heavier tanks come out, it's just to absorb shots, slow down the enemy, and make them think, oh god, it has 15 frontal armor, I'm going to have to save up for PkK-43 or bomb it to bits before moving up. It's to be a deterrent to slow them down. It's also a command unit, which is very nice, and it has 1-star veterancy, so it has a decent command aura. Yes, you only get 1 per card, and you don't have a lot of tank slots, but it's still rather hard to take 1 or 2 of these command Churchills. What's a really good card in this tank tab is a Sherman Mark II. You can get 1 per minute first off. It's a Sherman secondly, so it's better than these bloody Churchill tanks. And you get 5 per card. These are really nice cards to take. Yes, you only get them in C phase, and I'm seeing one of the reasons why you would take the Churchill Mark VI is that you want a medium tank rotation mark, even though Churchill's technically a heavy tank, in B phase, but really it's worthwhile to wait till C phase, get you Sherman M4A1s or Sherman Mark IIs, and you're going to have a lovely old time. Yeah, this is actually a pretty good card. A very good card. Support. Nice thing about a support slot is essentially it's another tank tab. So, we got Dingoes in A phase. You got a lot of leader units already in this division, but you can never have too many leader units. So bring in some Dingoes, they're lovely. You got A phase supply trucks, B phase supply trucks, and the C phase supply trucks, as per usual. You also got A phase Churchill Mark V, which is a pretty nice Churchill, as it has that 95mm Howitzer you see on the Cromwells, for example. It's great at long range, it can kill pack guns pretty easily. Great fire support unit, highly recommend you take a card of these in A phase. What also is a fantastic card in A phase is the AVRE, the Armoured Vehicle of the Royal Engineers, for when you absolutely most positively need to blow something up. With its 30 HE cannon, there's no infantry in it that will survive a direct shot from this bad boy, or AT gun, or really any soft target for its matter. The AVRE is not prejudiced against any size of squad. It will make him disappear. It's a fantastic magic trick you got to see. The AVRE's great. It's so bloody good. With the 15 armor in A phase, there's really not much I can pen you. I'm thinking maybe the A phase PkK-43 from like 21st Panzer, or Bleed the Firefly from Trove. But that's really it from max range. The problem with the AVRE is it has short range. It only has 600-meter range on its big, trash bin launcher, essentially. It's a rich bigger thing. So you do have to get rather close. Thankfully you have the armor to get close. There's also a really cool trick with the AVRE. 2 cool tricks. First off, it doesn't do friendly fire damage. Meaning that you can, if you have a rifle squad engaged in a Panzer Grenadier squad next to each other, you can shoot at the Panzer Grenadier squad and your rifle squad will be completely fine. They will completely ignore it. kind of weird, but you might as well use that to your advantage. The second thing, it has 40 meter AOE damage, meaning that you can kill stuff behind hedge lines. If you know he has some infantry or an AT gun hiding behind a hedge line where you can't directly shoot it, you can just shoot in front of the hedge line, and it will usually disappear as well. Those are two very cool micro tricks you can do with the AVRE. It's a really good unit. You just have to keep an eye on it, because it's going to be a pretty high priority target. And if your opponent's smart, he's going to try and bring in some Panzer Shreks to Shrek you up. You got more AVREs and Churchill Mark 5s in B phase. And you also got the Crocodile, which may as well just be a regular... It may as well just be a regular Churchill Mark 7. As statistically, it's pretty much the same. It even costs the same amount. You just lose the leader stat for Flamethrower. The Flamethrower is pretty cool. I never say no to a Flamethrower. I like burning stuff. It's pretty cool. I'm not an arsonist, I swear. But you never really use the Flamethrower, honestly. It's a bit too slow to be using that close in front of towns, and you don't really want to risk this thing to die into a potential Panzer Shrek shot, for example. And that's what makes Rosps and the Flamethrower half-tracks rather nice, is they're a bit more expendable, whereas Churchill, or Crocodile I should really say, is not so much. You just want to use this as a regular tank, is what I'm saying, like a regular Churchill Mark 7. And you get them in the support tab, which is lovely. You got a lot of support slots available to you. These are really worthwhile cards. Really, really worthwhile cards. And heck, if you do manage to get close on napalm something, there's nothing wrong with that either. Now, the anti-tank tab is, there's a lot of anti-tank stuff in the anti-tank tab. Surprise. A-phase PH, these are actually pretty good. They're a bit expensive because they come with the MMG carrier. The MMG carrier is a pretty nice vehicle, it does give your infantry much needed fire support, but if you just want a cheap Piat, and you're not getting it with this card, unfortunately. I mean, still a Piat, it's not great, but any infantry anti-tank helps quite a bit. A-phase 6-pounders and also a 2-star 6-pounder. These are both pretty good cards. You get less 6-pounders per average compared to other divisions, which is usually standard. You get 3 6-pounders per card, but you got the extra veteran trees is nice. And even the 2-star 6-pounder is a worthwhile card to take, because that 2-star is nutty. I'm a bit more fond of the 1-star just because I like getting better stuff later on. There shouldn't be a British infantry division without crap tons of 17-pounders. And oh boy, you got crap tons of 17-pounders. In B phase, you got 1-star and 2-star 17-pounders. In C phase, you got 1-star and 2-star 17-pounders. Oh wait, no, this is also a B phase one, my bad. Now, you even got option of Bedford trucks or the Stuart Remy. The Remy does make it rather more expensive, but it's still a useful vehicle to have, the Stuart Remy, because it gives your infantry much needed fire support. If you just want a cheap 17-pounder, this isn't exactly the best thing. All these 17-pounders are great. You're going to be using 17-pounders as your main anti-tanker lineup for this division, so you might as well, take as many as you can. They're really bloody good. Really bloody good. We've just got Wolverines, which is lovely as well. You got them B and C phase, and a rather healthy amount of Wolverines So you really do have a very nice tank. You really have lovely anti-tank options. You have the Challengers, you have the Wolverines, and you have 17-pounders, and you got a healthy amount of them. So at long range, you're not going to be doing too terribly. Really, what you want to be doing is usual 17-pounders to get the first shot off the Panthers, Tigers, etc. Try to ambush them, and then you bring in the Wolverine or Challenger around a corner to help suppress, and you just, 2-on-1 the Panther or Tiger. And that's how you really deal with majority of tanks with 15th Infantry using 17-pounder weaponry, or 76mm guns if we're talking about a Wolverine. So, just a lovely anti-tank tab in general. Anti-air's pretty good. There's nothing really too crazy to write home about. The Humber AA is without a doubt the worst anti-aircraft unit in-game. It has 4 machine guns, that's it. And 600 meter range. This is terrible. There's literally no reason you should take this unit. No reason whatsoever. A-phase Bofors, A-phase Tripostons, B-phase CMP Postons, which are pretty meh. B-phase Bofors, which are really good. And then Crusader AAs is pretty much the rest of the anti-aircraft tab. Not really much veterancy overall, but it's pretty alright. You got both Beauforts and you got trade postons, and Beauforts and a Crusader. So you got decent anti-air weaponry all around. It's nothing too crazy. Artillery's pretty good, Joe. You got a healthy amount of options. A phase, you only got access to 2-inch carriers. And 2-inch carriers get a rather bad rep. They're not the best thing in the world, but for 15 Scots, you definitely should take the A phase 2-inch. Firstly, because you have no other artillery options. And B phase, it helps out a crap ton in towns, because your infantry isn't really that great in towns. Yes, you have the 2 SMGs compared to 1 Pentagondier, but it's still not really that great, especially in A phase. 2-inch carrier relieves the problem, because it is fantastic in towns to shoot at how fast it shoots. Because it's only a 15mm mortar, it has 15 rounds a minute, you can bump it up even more with putting some veterancy in it, and by god, you can just start Pentagondiers, Feldjägers extremely quickly. The downside of a 2-inch carrier, it's pretty expensive, it is 70 points. Unless it's on a movable vehicle, but it only has 1 armor and a Bren group, it's pretty much the bare minimum of a moving armored vehicle. And also, it's only good in towns. This is only good in town fights. Because it has such short range, you can use it in towns because you can sneak it in there, but in open fields, trying to blow stuff up in forests far away, 2-inch carrier isn't good. But it's still worthwhile to have to help out in those town fights. B phase, 3-inch mortars, pretty standard mortars, and you got the 25 pounders. With 1-star veterancy, you got a healthy amount of 25 pounders. These are really going to be your backbone of your artillery force division, and because they're 120 points, you can get 1 per minute, which is lovely. B phase, off-map Churchill, pretty alright. It's not really that great. I wouldn't really recommend it. You got priests from B and C phase, which are pretty decent. I do prefer 25 pounders show as a much cheaper, and the other 1-star veterancy. Yeah, the priest is still pretty decent, and it's also on an armored vehicle, so it doesn't get counter-batteried as easily. The 4.2-inch mortars are a lovely card, because they're cheaper in 25 pounders, and they do more damage. I pretty much use these guys in place of the priests if I just need something a bit more heavy hit, and yes, they have less range, but they're cheaper, and I usually keep the artillery pretty close to the front line anyway. And then 203mm off-map, which is pretty nice as well, but they only run per card, so I don't really think it's worthwhile. And let's pop over to the air tab. You got some nice aeroplane options. A-phase recon plane, also, yeah, it's cool. A-phase Spitfire fighters, pretty decent. Spitfire fighters are nice and cheap, good run-on-run against Messerschmitts, as well as a Spitfire bomber, which is also pretty good. And also an A-phase rocket Typhoon. Not a Typhoon AT, but just a regular Typhoon. That's good for dealing with ground targets. B-phase, more Spitfire fighters, more Spitfire bombers. This is a heavier Spitfire bomber, more Typhoons as well as Typhoon AT. C-phase, even better Spitfire fighters, and more Typhoon ATs. The Typhoon ATs are always lovely anti-tank vehicles, as you can kill Panthers and Tigers pretty reliably with Typhoon 18. If you do the Typhoon AT trick, where you hold fire with the rockets, wait for it to get close, and shoot the rocket so it only shoots half the salvo, but because it shoots closer and it's more accurate, it essentially does the same amount of damage than you would with 8 rockets. You can really make Typhoons worth their money. The problem is they don't have the veterancy, and losing the veterancy is a pretty big deal when it comes to the accuracy and effectiveness of Typhoon ATs. Still good to have, they're not going to be the wonderful powerhouses as they are in Guard Armored or 6 Airborne. So that pretty much covers everything unit-wise. So let's take a look at a deck that I built earlier. Very much earlier. I've pretty much had this deck modified since the closed beta. Closed beta. So anyway, pretty standard stuff. Let's jump in. Once again, deck code is in the description below. This is pretty much, I consider, a general all-round 15 Scots deck. It's good for 1v1s and team games for me. So, yeah. Recon, just take an A-phase Recce, then B-phase Recce and Humbers, as well as some Little Johns in C-phase. It's really just enough Recon to get you by. I mean, if you're not throwing array or Recce's, they do last you quite a while, and this is enough Recon infantry to be sufficient. And a lot of Johnson Knights are flanking around trying to, you know, help kill Tigers or Panthers or other tanks in close quarters engagements. Infantry, so there's many ways you can build this infantry tab and many different philosophies. For me, I'm trying to take all the veterancy rifles that I can, then sprinkle in some non-veterancy. Now, if I do the math real fast, I do have myself 34 riflemen in total, and if I times that by 20, if I do the math real fast as well, I believe that's 680 points to buy all the riflemen in this division. Which is, I think that's a pretty good point spread. You're gonna have enough riflemen to survive you for the rest of the match, is what I'm trying to say. 34 is more than enough. I mean, if you don't feel confident, just switch out the veterancy cards for more regular rifle cards. But honestly, the extra veterancy helps out quite a bit, especially when you bump them up to 2-star veterancy with the amount of rifle leaders you're going to be having around. Because we do take A phase and B phase rifle leaders. This is one of those divisions because you have a lot of infantry slots where you want to be taking both A and B phase leader cards, because you do have the opportunity to do so. But yeah, rifles are great. The veterancy helps out quite a bit. Assault Pioneers for when we really get close in and sticky. And then one Vickers gun, because we have the cards left over. I don't feel like I need more rifles. I don't like Bren groups that much. 8 Assault Pioneers is more than enough. So having a bit of extra long-range firepower helps out quite a bit. For tank tab, both Honey Stuarts and A phases. I like using Honey Stuart a lot in A phase. They're very good tanks to help deal with Axis armor. You can usually kill those French tanks pretty easily in 1-on-1. And great fire support because it has 3 machine guns. So, Honey Stuarts galore. And that's like, I mean, you're not going to get all 6 usually. Or sometimes you get all 6 in A phase. It just depends how things are going. Like, all the infantry and other stuff's pretty cheap, so you can afford to be buying these sweet little honeys. B phase is the Command Churchill. That's usually more than enough to hold out. And then C phase, Sherman Spam, and then Challengers. Support, A phase Dinko, A phase Supply Truck, A phase Churchill Mark 5, and A phase AVRE. I usually get the AVRE at the start of every match. It's one of the units that I buy immediately. It's because it's very good to help push or hold a sector. Usually if you put the AVRE in one flank, your opponent's going to be like, oh crap, I can't really push yet. It's an AVRE, I can't kill it. I'm just going to get close and he's just going to Death Star me. So it's pretty useful in that regard. B-phase Supply Truck and B-phase Crocodile, we pretty much just use it as an extra tank tab, which is nice. Anti-tank, A-phase PS, because we need the handheld Infantry AT, A-phase 6-pounders, and we get lots of Wolverines. I prefer using Wolverines a bit more than the 17-pounders. You may want to remove like another card of Wolverines and take more 17-pounders if you feel like it, but I find that for me, 4 17-pounders is enough. These are pretty cost efficient in that regard. And the Wolverines, I like having mobile anti-tank fire support, so I take some Wolverines as well. Also, I forgot to note, the nice thing about the Stuart Remy 2 is that it can remove the 17-pounders. And this is one of those divisions where you want to be doing that. Once your 17-pounder gets a kill or two, move it. Move it, because it's going to become a high priority target. Especially when people fight against 15, because I know it's your main way of killing tanks, or your most effective way of killing tanks. And also they have high veterancy, so they're going to say 2-star 17-pounder, oh boy, I'm going to send all my planes over here to bomb it to bits. So removing it with these Stuart Rammies is pretty nice. Yeah, I do take one card with just the Bedfords because you can get 1 per minute in B phase. It's just cheaper and easier to get. Anti-air is pretty standard. Trade posts on both those Crusader AAs. It's enough to get you by. Artillery, the Truant's Carrier is lovely. Helps out in town fights. Only 2 cards of 25-pounders, as I find 6 is a little bit too much. I find this to be more enough, and I also like having the 4-inch mortar in C phase, as you get 1 more compared to just taking another 25-pounder. And if it feels a different role, it's a bit cheaper. It's good to have a bit of a variety instead of just having all 25-pounders. So 25-pounders are great. They're one of the best artillery pieces in game. Even better when they're inside an armored chassis. And the air tab, we're taking 2 Spitfire fighter cards, 1 in A and 1 C phase, B phase Spitfire bomber, and then Typhoon ATs in C phase for help in dealing with tanks. So, overall, the pros of this division. Infantry spam galore. This is probably the division that can bring the most amount of infantry in their infantry tab. Like, if we just take a look real fast, let's say we want to just max out as many rifles as we can. So 34, now we're at 46, and now we're at 58. And it's, I mean, we could take even more if we want of rifles, but as you can see, you have a ridiculous amount of infantry in this division. It's absurd. Absolutely absurd. You also got, you can take the enemy to Pound Town. If you're 17 pounders and 25 pounders, you have great artillery and great anti-tank support. Both pounders are great pounders. Thick armored tanks, your Churchills, your AVREs, your Crocodiles, all great, all lovely. They can, you know, hold their own against a lot of Axis AT weaponry and help slow down the enemy push. They're not great at usually dealing with that enemy AT weaponry, but that's what your other units are there for. They're just there to soak up the shots. And also, this is a very well-balanced division. Like, all of the tabs have good units in them. Like, there's not one tab that's really terrible, and it's like, oh, you got all these great tanks, but your artillery's crap. No, every tab has really useful units in it. The anti-air tab's a little bit lackluster, but even then, you've got a good amount of units in the anti-air tab. It's more than enough to get you by. It's a very lovely, well-balanced next to 15th Scottish Infantry Division. But it does bring us to our 2 cons that we're going to have. The first one is the lack of infantry AT weaponry. Your rifles don't have Piats. Really, the only guys that have Piats are the rifle leaders and the Piat Scrods. The Piat Scrods are a bit expensive and you can't spam them as much, and the rifle leaders are a bit few and far between. So I usually find that if your opponent's smart, they're going to realise that you don't have much infantry AT weaponry on the field in town fights, for example, so they can pretty freely bring in half-tracks and Char B2s and other fire support vehicles to pick away their rifles at long range. And that can be a bit troublesome. You need to keep your tanks and AT guns on point to try to kill those light vehicles before they can get in that nasty area where you can run around and kill your infantry and you can't get a clear shot because they're dipping and diving between buildings. And also, this is just a slow division. It's an infantry division. And it's an infantry division with very slow heavy tanks. You're pretty slow to push up. This isn't, you don't have half tracks, you can't rush up and capture a point after making a breakthrough. You're just slow, you're methodical, you have to wait for the 17 pounders to get into a new position before you move up to the next tree line. Your rifles are a bit slow, everything's just slow. You do have to be cautious, take your time. You're probably only going to be winning by a +1 point advantage for most of the time. Maybe you can get to a +2 if you just keep methodically pushing, but you're not going to make a crazy breakthrough for most of the time with 15th Scottish Infantry Division. So with all that rambling out of the way, let's see how the 15th performs within a 1v1 match. And we are back. This is a 1v1 on ECpkK. And we have ourselves Hi Robert playing as the 15th Scottish Infantry Division, and Mickey playing as the Paris Division. Before we get into it, Mickey was the one to send me this replay, and as you usually know, the person playing the division that I'm reviewing is the guy who wins. So thank you, Mickey, for sending this in. So, if we take a look at Robert's deck, a little bit different than mine, a bit more rifle spam, a little less on the recon, more AT guns, both for the AA, more Spitfire fighters. The artillery tab is very mixed up using the Churchill off map, usually just a lot of off maps. And the tank tab is pretty much the same, you know, taking a B phase Challenger into the C phase Challenger, and the support tab is pretty much the same as mine. I think that support tab is really the ideal loadout for any 15th Scottish Infantry Division deck. It's enough to get you by. So we're on ECpkK, and this is a pretty fairly evened map. You got the open field on the right, or open airfield on the right, and then left hand side you got the town fight. Now against Paris, it's going to be a bit interesting, as Paris is going to have those few very highly vetted tanks, I mean, the Stug 3 and B phase, the Pumas, yeah, those are really two really highly vetted tanks and other reared units. And once we get into the late game, of course, Mickey's going to have Panthers and Tigers available. But with 15 Scots, you have the tools necessary to deal with that. But lovely thing is that in A phase, you can really exploit this airfield. As you have the Churchill Mark 5, baby. And he's going to be sending the AVRE to the middle. And he's just going to be spamming lots of infantry. Churchill Mark 5 is a great choice on this map for the airfield. As you have the long range advantage. You can get an A phase Pak 40 with Paris, which can be an issue. But if you get first shot on the Pak 40, stretch it out, you pretty much kill it. And you can also shoot in front of the Pak 40 when the Pak 40 can't shoot you and get first shot and stun it up. So that Churchill's going to be a huge pain in the ass for Mickey to deal with at the start. In terms of town fight, it's really just going to be a lot of rifles. And the AVRE is going to be an important aspect in dealing with armor and etc. The AVRE, as you can tell, is pretty slow to get to the front line. It's very bloody slow. Very bloody slow. Though Mickey does have more specialized CQC troops. He has Flammen Rifles, which are pretty much going to rack out the Bren groups pretty easily. As pretty much any dedicated CQC infantry that the Axis bring up is going to give Scottish a hard time. That's because even your infantry is decent at CQC, it's only 2 submachine guns. And even your assault pioneers can only do like one thing and then they're done. Well, after for the tactical charge, they're pretty much useless. And it's not like you're going to resupply them. That's ridiculous. Resupply an infantry unit, who'd do that? But the rifles are just here to soak up shots. That's really what rifles do most of the time. They're there to draw fire and soak up shots. Your Her Robert, he's got the Bren Group middle, which is again some easy land grab, land territory. And the Churchill Mark 5, I mean, you can't really see anything because there's not any recon nearby. But he's just in the middle of the airfield looking scary. There we just got a town fight over here, and Mickey's going to be pushing him out a bit as he does have the better fire support as well as a Panzer Run. And this is what I mean about lack of infantry. ATR Panzer Run's going to be a really good unit in this town. Because that rifle leader, I mean, he can kill it. In fact, he can't now because he's pinned down. But even then, it's a Piat. There's a good chance it might miss. And then see the Panzer Run's just going to come in, get the surrenders, easy peasy. But there's a honey syrup being brought out. And even if you lost some infantry units there, it's Scots. They're pretty cheap. You can easily buy it back in 1 minute. This is a bit of an infantry grind. It's rather hard to fight Paris in this sort of matchup when you're just doing infantry and infantry, as the Landshootens and Bavarians are extremely beefy, and it takes your riflemen a long time to kill them. So you need to rely on the fire support and etc. to do the damage. The Panzer Run's doing some dodging and diving to avoid your honey Stuart. Got more rifles being brought in. See in the airfield. Robert's just exploiting that he has the middle under his control. If you just bring out some more rifle over here and just try to charge through and just give fire support, you can pretty easily take those hangars. Yeah, of course, he's rather focused on town at the moment, as that's really the issue he's trying to deal with. Panzer Run gets surrendered. Flammen Rifle is doing some pretty good micro here, but a little bit outnumbered against rifles at that point. And here we go, we've got the AVRE. And as you can see, it does a lot of damage. You can potentially kill that Panzer 39 with the AVRE. You can kill tanks with this thing, it's great. It usually takes 2 to 3 shots, but you can make him disappear. But it's still over here, because you have fire support, which you need with 15 Scots, you need to have the fire support nearby the infantry to make him worthwhile, because the rifles are really just here to soak up shots. You can do some lovely work. See, the Hotchkiss he's trying to engage, but that's not smart against a thing that does 30 HE. And as you can see, 2 shots, Hotchkiss is gone. It does take the AVRE a lot of while to reload, because of the reared spigot system. Here's a very cool system. I highly recommend you look it up. Essentially, with like the AVRE, how it reloads is you actually have to go outside the tank and the barrel like breaks open. Like you flip it down essentially, and it breaks away from the breach, and then you essentially put like the big bloody round in, you close it back up, and then boom, you're good to go. It's kind of like a breech-loaded rifle in a way, but on a really big tank. Nonetheless, Herr Robert trying to kill the Panzerschrank because that is the main threat for the AVRE here. The AVRE's just trying to get online. And he is going to be... Is he ground firing? No, he's actually just engaging the tower building. And boom, there goes the land shooting. So satisfying just to see the AVRE shoot. It never gets boring. It never gets boring with 15 Scots. On the right hand side, we're finally seeing some rifles being brought in to try and clear out the hangars. We've also seen some Panzerjägers. And the Panzerjägers aren't going to have a good time against the Churchill Mark V. Even though if they do get into range, they can have a hard time penetrating it still. Right, the problem is the Churchill has 200 meter extra range on them, and these are rather lightly armoured, so they're going to get stressed out pretty easily. You've also got the Bofors here, help support the Churchill. Both in the ground support right, and also if an airplane comes by and tries to bomb him, Churchill will be fine. Some rifles are taking some more ground in the open air, and this has given her Robert a very nice +1 point advantage. Mickey still holds the left hand side of the town, has that under his control. This would be a very good opportunity to get in a turret mortar, just to try and break out and dig up the Bavarians. We see the rifles with support of the Mark V. Mickey's infantry here is not going to be having a good time. Robert's just very slowly getting that +2 point advantage. And the AVRE, there we go, another infantry unit kaput. And this AVRE has definitely been getting, he's definitely been getting his money's worth from the AVRE. As he just tries to find a good position with it to get a clear shot. Here's a turret's carrier, and as we can see here, once it gets online, it reloads pretty fast, and this is a run-style veterancy too. That's like a 2-second reload. And that can easily pin down anything. Same with the Ju-188, which is completely going to stun up this force for the AVRE. He doesn't care. He's going to get some shots off that infantry, and it's pretty much dead. If he can get the shot off, that is. The driver got knocked out, but doesn't care, and the gun still works. You're on to B phase. This is where Mickey can start getting some better anti-tank weaponry. You could get stuck in the middle, for example, and maybe kill the Churchill Mark V. But oh look, Panzerjägers managing to get closer. Yeah, they're having a hard time penetrating, of course. And Churchill's just no shot on exactly landing all that great. And Ju-188 is going to be stunning up the AVRE here, and that's going to force him to fall back. So has a lot of his infantry. Here he has a lead unit nearby, so he doesn't worry about being surrendered. And the rifles here. See, the rifles, it takes him a long time to kill anything. I believe he's... Yeah, I don't think it's 100 meters. If he's on 100 meters, it'd kill him a bit faster to shoot the SMGs, but at long range, rifles aren't great. They're pretty terrible at long range. And Mickey's still flying around Ju-188 for some reason, even though it's out of bombs. And he's just getting hit up by the Bofors. And we've got the 6-pounder beat coming to mid. This is the 2-star 6-pounder. As he's sneaking his way in. As his Panzerjägers don't have line of sight, so... And not great HE, so the 6-pounder's going to have a pretty easy time picking him off. A rather ballsy play, but it's going to work out in the end. And the AVRE here getting online. Fires, kaput. There goes another infantry unit. And this is a very good use of the AVRE. Honestly, I usually lose my AVRE before, like, this time round about in B phase. I usually just get a bit cocky if I say, I can move up, I got 15 frontal armor, and then I get Panzerschrecked. Unfortunately, there's not really many Panzerschrecks on the field. There are some AT grenades, but they're pretty much a joke. And as you can see, one shot direct, boom. Here goes the Hotchkiss tank. I think he already shot that before, maybe. Or sometimes the AVRE is a pretty big target for B3s, I know, yeah. We're fighting against 3rd Phelps or 91st. Heck, even Paris can get beat free, so I believe that's in sea phase. Becomes a rather big target. We got some assault pioneers being brought in. A bit weird to have a flamethrower icon, but that's just what the assault icon is, I guess. You know, not in range to throw the satchel charge. They're gonna throw it, and that's pretty much gonna mess up the RRA. And the assault pioneers have done their job. We've got some more assault pioneers and regular rifles coming into the town. It's also be a very good time for Herr Robert to bring some of his off map, as a lot of Mickey's stuff is very, you know, very close together, and Mickey just doing the classic Paris strat of bombing everything to shit, because that's what you do with Paris. You buy all the J188 and you pretend it's a matter of War Thunder and you're trying to farm for credits. And that was a beautiful strike, Jesus Christ. The rifles may want to get out of there before its RRA almost, oh no, the leader's unit here, so they're not going to get surrendered. But the RRA is moving up. And Herr Robert, he pretty much has complete control on the right now. He does need some more units here to get a firmer grasp on things. And he's bringing in the Churchill Crocodile, which is definitely an interesting choice. It's going to be helpful in the tank department. It seems like he's going to be using it as a flamethrower vehicle, which is a bit ballsy, but it works. It works. It's got the off map here now, which is going to help out in just stunning up Mickey's forces. But this is just pretty good play from Herr Robert. I mean, his 6-pounder here, because there's no recon, he can sit it in the middle of an open field and he doesn't care. Does Mickey see it? Mickey must see it. Here's a Panzer Striker. No, he doesn't. He does not. Herr Robert has managed to make a bit of a breakthrough on the left-hand side here. By clearing out units here, he is not going to be moving up. We are seeing some panhards being brought in. This would be a very good area for the Churchill Crocodile to go, and that's exactly what he's going to be doing. No, never mind. This would be an excellent place for Churchill Crocodile. It has range, it can shoot stuff before it gets into the town. Of course you want to clear the Panzer Striker first and send some infantry in front, but it'd be a lovely area for that vehicle. And the panhards are coming in. Yeah, they're going to just run into the Bofors and get stressed out. You've got Spitfire bomber plane. He's going to go... What's he going for? Is he going for the panhards? And J188's dogfighting it. And he may shoot it down. Those Spitfires coming in. But it's an RAA from Mickey. But he's not going to chase, huh? He could have killed it. Instead he's going to go straight for the pack gun. You got another J188 coming in. And is he... No, he's using it to bomb the 6-pounder. Very good choice. It doesn't completely kill it. And Spitfire's going to come in. And he should kill his J188 for sure. And the Spitfire fighters are pretty nice. And Herr Robert has all 3 cards worth. So he has all the fighters in the world. So you turn to carry out lovely in towns. Just because you can park it so close to stuff and the fire rate works so great. I mean, that AT-18 is pinned down, now his command carrier is going to kill it. The command carrier. 1 Bren gun. Only 300 shots. But Herr Robert, he's at a very nice plus 2 points advantage now, just thanks to holding the airfield. But we've got a Panzer IV coming in the middle here. But the Crocodile's in a perfect spot to stop him. And really, the Crocodile has the advantage. It bounces, as you see. I mean, nice thing of run and run, you really do, you win against Panzer IV's run and run. As you have the AP and armor advantage. Well, he has more AP than you, but your armor is so much... We're actually... No, it's actually still pretty even. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm doing my math completely wrong. I apologize. I'll edit it in the video, what the actual math is. But no, you do have the advantage against the Panzer IV on a run-on-run, because you have more armor in its gun. And you have 3 extra AP over the armor. But nonetheless, pretty much still a slog. Mickey's just holding on. Mickey is very good holding troops as well. Has a lot of, like, AVRE 11-man squad, Land Troops 11-man squad, but Fairings are 15-man squads. Takes a while to kill. And without the AVRE being nearby, it really does take a while for him to kill. And the Panzer Strike's coming in. He's in a sniper's honey. There he goes. Yeah, honey search pretty much buggered. The Panzer Strike does get killed in kind. But honey search's going to fall back and get some supply. And Strike 3 over here is going to be a pain in the ass, because there's no AT nearby. The Crocodile forced to retreat. So now her Robert's got the airplanes up. And the AA, he can start shooting down these J188s. You know, Mickey is making a pretty decent push on the right hand side here around C phase, so Sherman 2 is going to start coming out. And even a Panther, so this is pretty much Mickey's, you know, it's going to be his make it or break it unit at the moment. He needs his Panther to try to break through right and just capture lots of ground. He has to catch up to over 1,024 points. The Crocodile engaged on the Panzer IV, and he's going to win that. Again, some heavy AA from Mickey. And a 4-inch mortar. And you see, the Sherman's just going to see a lot of them now, because you can just get one per minute. They're cheap, they're easy. In town fights like this, they're perfect. And this Panther, it's going to be a pretty tough customer for now. Until her Robert can just bring out a 17-pounder. I mean, there's a lot of good 17-pounder spots here, and here to take advantage of. And it's only a Panther D, it only has 13 frontal armor. Panther D's making his way over the open field. Kills a Churchill Mark 5. Finally it goes down, but here's a 17-pounder here. Not much recon here from Mickey. So the 17-pounders, he's close. He's going to get a very clear first shot. Yeah, he does miss. But second shot comes off. I was at 2 times speed, but nonetheless, for 2-star veterancy, the reload rate is increased by quite a bit. Yeah, it's going to give away 17-pounder's position for now. Mickey knows it's here, so he's going to be much more cautious with his Panther play. Even though her Robert, you know, he's getting pushed back a bit, the match is still in his favour. He has a lot of time to try to negate this +1 point advantage from Mickey. A lot of time. And there's many ways he can do it. He could just push back and right here doing the 17-pounders and get like a Challenger and some other AT. He could try to break through the town here. All he has to really do is kill Stug, and then the infantry falls one by one. He's going to be bringing a bombing run on something. Never mind, the AA is going to force him to fall back. Again, a second 17-pounder. Bringing this honey turret on the right would definitely be a good call to try to deal with all these soft skin targets. The Crocodile here used a lot of its AT ammo. Jeez, he's been busy. And the AVRE is still alive. Which is actually pretty surprising. We've now got the Jagdpanther on the right. That's going to be a pain in the ass to deal with. With the Jagdpanther and a Panther D, that's a pretty nice little rombo combo, yeah. And they're going to be bumped up to 3-star veterancy. At the same time, 17-pounder, if he can just rate, let him get close. I mean, he's got a 6-pounder here. But never mind, 17-pounder is going to come in. And he's going to kill the Panther. There we go, never mind. So the rombo combo ain't going to be happening. And even though you do have those nice heavy tanks for Paris, they're not exactly easy to replace. You don't get a lot of them. Compared to like Troph, for example, or Panzer Leia. Panzer Leia, you get a stupid amount of Panthers. See the Honey Shirt giving fire support and the Spitfires to strafing that flat gun. Her Robert's going to be able to retake the right. Pretty much Towns is pretty much even Stevens. But this is just pretty standard stuff for Scotch. I mean, now he's finally getting some of those 25-pounders online, and he's going to start picking off those AA guns. But see, your 17-pounders are not to be trifled with when you have 2-star veterancy. And if you bump up to 3-star veterancy, good luck, Axis heavy tanks. Good bloody luck. Good bloody luck. And then it's got all the artillery online. There's a lot of Mickey's stuff is really just soft targets at this point. Now Mickey's going to respond in kind of a Hummel. It's SDKF Z7 trying to do some tomfoolery here. The Sherman is going to easily deal with that. But see, a Stug on the left has been a pain in the ass. As you could get like a 6-pounder here or a 17-pounder here, but it's not exactly the best spot for a 17-pounder or 6-pounder really. It's a bit too close quarters. It's a bit too close to home. You want to be using those 17-pounders, big open fields, where there's not many rays. Something can get close. But Sherman does get first shot on the Stug, thanks to its stabilizers, of course. And it's pretty much going to get the kill nonetheless, so pretty lucky first shot. Yo, her Robert, he still needs to push, that's the problem. He has like 6 minutes to push. He just needs to stop the plus run. He needs to get like 3% map control to bring it back to 49-51. And he's going to be off map artillery in the town. He's going to slowly move up with his infantry. He's going to take a Moralio. I find it sometimes with rifles is like when you got infantry pinned down like this and you move up, it's best just not to shoot back, have something to suppress them, and then just try to surrender them. Because sometimes that's a micro misplay that I make with 15 Scotch and a lot of people do. We're not happening right now with Robert. But sometimes you just need to run up to the rifles, just don't shoot, just try to surrender stuff quickly. Because at long range are pretty terrible at killing stuff. And Mickey's just running out of stuff in the town here. And the 6-pounder, as well as the Sermons, going to force that flank gun to retreat, killing the transport. Got another Panther D being brought onto the left to try and deal with the Sherman and 6-pounder. It's pretty dangerous territory for it. And Robert's just running the rule of attrition, which is what you do with 15 Scotch. You have a lovely attritional deck, especially with Robert with all his rifle spam. He's got the off map onto the 88. That's going to pin it down. You see, because he's slow, it's not like he has a spare half track he can rush up and surrender it. Or heck, in this point, like a Stuart Recce or command carrier. But he's going to be rushing up nonetheless. And he should be able to get the 88. He's just going to kill it at long range with the Sherman. And he's just going to flank the Panther with his Sherman Mark II. And or 6-pounder, and that kills it. And pretty much Mickey is down for the count at this point. Her Robert got the plus run back, and Mickey's just ran out of stuff. And Robert's just got complete air supremacy of all his Spitfires. Now he's at a +2, and it's pretty much just going to be a GG. But it's very good play from her, Robert, really showing off how to play 15 Scotch really bloody well. You know, great use of fire support in the town, and now he's just ridden that wall of attrition, pushes through, and he's pretty much got the entire map at that point. And you see the KD advantage is pretty ridiculous. Like, jeez. You see the AVRE just knocked out a lot, including a few tanks as well. Definitely paid itself off. Churchill Mark 5 and Honey Shirt's killing a lot as well. 6-pounders around the middle. The Crocodile knocking out the Panther 4. Spitfire Bomber Even doing some nice work here, knocking down an artillery piece as well as an anti-tank gun, or anti-tank vehicle. The Spitfire plane, it's like, damn, even killed a Marder 3 and a PaK-40 and an AVRE with a Spitfire fighter. 17 pounders, Sherman Mark 2 did pretty good. But yeah, really good kills there with Robert. Really showing off how to play the 15th. Just take a look at losses real fast. And the Panzerschreck knocked out a few stuff, but apart from that, I mean, Landshuten's get a few rifles here now, but you can afford to lose those rifles. Same rate you can afford to be losing those Landshuten's, you lose quite a lot of. But yeah, I think I really explained everything. 15th Scorch is a very standard division. You play it slow, you play it steady, you play, good old fashioned British ho-ho, or have a tea time here, set up a 17 pounder and we'll blow up some Hun before it becomes, before nightfall or some nonsense like that. But yeah, it's been another Steel Divisional overview. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as usual, please just take it easy.